Okay, so Candy Sump, thank you for asking. So I was gonna make a whole separate video about this, all right? I didn't. Laura even asked me, she goes, are you gonna do a video on this afterwards? And I was like, no. So I'll start off by saying this. So Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 was the most disappointing thing I have waited for such a long time. And I'm going to say that one more time. I was extremely disappointed. I will even go to say extremely disappointed with Mission Impossible. So let me explain to you what's going on before you guys crucify me. Because I've seen so many mixed reviews. It's either people giving it a 5 out of 5 or giving it a 1 out of 5. Okay. And I'm somewhere in the middle right now. Okay. So the spectrum is, yeah, this movie throws you for so much anticipation and then it drops you down and then it brings you back up. And I'm just speaking for myself once again. Now, when I walked out of the theater, Laura, my little brother, his girlfriend had a great time with that. Don't look at me. I see your eyes looking at me. What, baby? I'm giving my review. I'm giving my review and you're sucking me out. What happened? You said you liked it.
No, I didn't say I liked it or disliked it. I said it was an action movie. You got what you paid for.
Doesn't that mean you like it? Did you have fun with the action?
I liked it.
Huh? It's always easy to give a review when your fiance is staring you right in the face, right? that really helped. No, but you just paused. She just paused and looked at me when she heard her name. Okay? I'm really trying to be serious and honest in my review, okay? And Laura's like, don't you speak for me. Don't you do that. Okay, so anyways, rewind time. It's rewind time, guys. All right. So, but I think that they enjoyed it a little more than me. I'll just say this. Okay. Now, I'm coming off of, in the last year, rewatching all of the Mission Impossible movies from part 1. Okay. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, you can't compare them. Yes, you actually can. When it comes to a franchise like this, you expect some kind of, well, one, continuity, obviously. You expect to be upped the ante, which I believe these movies do a fantastic job. 3, 4, 5, and 6 are they up the ante. So why wouldn't it continue on that trend? Okay. Now, before you say, well, he's jumping on, jumping off of cliffs and stuff like that. Hold on, pump your brakes, pump your brakes. I think this film did something that I would not suggest studios do again. Do not leak all of that stunt footage beforehand, because when it came to that I'm going to say this without spoilers, by the way, guys. Okay. So don't worry. When it finally came to that scene in the movie, I'm not going to tell you where it's at, where you get to see that cliff jump. I didn't even care because I've already saw it in the behind the scene featurette that they blasted all over Twitter, that they blasted all over YouTube. When he was doing his press releases, he was blasting that clip everywhere. It didn't have the emotional depth that if I would have seen it for the first time. Yes, I saw the final result and they took out the ramp and they CGI'd the cliff and everything. Great. It's still a fantastic scene. Now, let me go back to the actual movie itself. We're dealing with these, I don't know if it's explained too much in the trailer. I don't even know if I want to give it away because I don't think it's explained in the trailer. But if you guys know most of the Mission Impossible movies, you don't even have to be a diehard as long as you watch them, and even if it's background noise, whatever. Okay? You guys know that there's always these syndicate rogue organizations that want to take over the world. In this one, it's very similar. It's very similar, but we're getting a little modern with the warfare. I will just say that. And I think that's where people go, ooh, and it's relatable. And yeah, it is. Okay. But they've been talking about stuff like this 30 years ago. To me, it wasn't reinventing the wheel. And you don't have to. Okay. You don't have to for Mission Impossible. For me, I want to see a bond of friendship with old characters, which we did get in some way, shape, or form. It's always hard for me to give non-spoiler reviews, by the way, guys. That's why I stopped doing reviews. So we did get the old band back together, so to speak, but it wasn't enough of that. I wanted to see more Simon Pegg, more freaking Ving Rhames. I wanted to see more of that. I would just say that if you're going in here thinking you're going to see your band of cast for a while on screen, you're not. You're not, once again. And I thought that was a little disappointing. Rebecca Ferguson was great in this movie. She did a great job. Our new leading lady, don't remember her name, but she definitely has a face like I could see her sticking around. Okay, she was fine. There was a lot of scenes where they placed her and Tom Cruise, Ethan's character, in a lot of these, you know, heroic situations, and I felt that. I definitely felt the bond there. Acting is always top notch in these movies. It has to be. These are hundreds of millions of dollars budgets, right? They wouldn't hire someone that didn't act. Now, when it came to the villains, these were James Bond villains that I did not care for whatsoever. I'm not going to name who they are because, once again, I don't know if it's in the trailer at all. But there is a leading guy who is a Bond villain to the T, and none of this dialogue seems fluid. And don't tell me that the other movies are like that, because they're really not. They're really not. There's one whole room scene where you have some government officials and they're finishing each other's sentences. Who talks like this? They go, they have a nuke that they can destroy the world. Then it cuts to a woman and they say it does this and then that. And it does this and that. No, what is this? Like round table discussions, people don't finish each other's sentences like this. And it went on for like 20 minutes. Also, whoever filmed this movie, directed this movie, I thought the directing was really bad in this movie. I thought the camera angles, the camera choices, it was like zoomed in shots, like up to their, from down low. And it was a bunch of this side shit, a bunch of weird angling going on to try to invoke something. And the score is pounding. The score is pounding while people are talking. People are just talking. And there's, symphonies, going crazy. Okay, that's not needed. That's only needed when Ethan Hunt's doing crazy shit. That's what I think. The score was great. It's just that the placement and editing choices of everything, the cinematography of some shots were really bad, for a Mission Impossible movie. And Mission Impossible 3, 4, 5, and 6, all of them, the last 4 were great. That's why I'm like, why did they drop the ball for me at least? Why did they drop the ball for me at least? We got so much emotional roller coaster in this movie. It felt like 3/4 of this movie was dialogue. It was just people talking about the end of the world. It was just talking. And I know people are going to be like, well, you can't process the, what's really happening right here. It's a scary thing. Yeah, it is scary, but it's also drawn out and it's fucking boring after a while. Okay. When you hit me with a peak action scene for a good 10 minutes, and then I get 40 minutes of dialogue in a 2.5-hour movie, that's not going to cut it for me. I'm sorry. That does not cut it for me. That's why Fallout was so great. That's why Part 3 was so great. You had some actual believable villains hit with the action beats. You have to have beats to this shit. This movie did not have any beats whatsoever. It had kind of a lame intro. I'm going to be honest. It had a lame intro, leading up to it. There was a couple of scenes. The Rebecca Ferguson scenes with Ethan Hunt were great. Those were good. Those were fine. Rob, I'm going to talk to you directly with this, one-on-one. Mano y mano, okay? I know a lot of you guys aren't saying stuff in the chat. You guys request. Thank you so much for that, by the way. If you haven't seen it, I'm sorry to burst your bubble. Thank you, Spooky, for that donation, by the way. There is a scene right in the middle of the movie that involves a Fiat car, a vehicle, that it went from a Mission Impossible movie to a Looney Tunes, Roger Rabbit, Fast and the Furious movie, and it ruined the whole movie for me. It ruined the whole movie for me. And I'm looking around. I had to go like this and cover my face because I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed to be a Mission Impossible fan in that moment. And people were laughing with their eating popcorn. This is fantastic. It is one of the worst pieces of action scenes I've ever seen in my life. And they add this Asian assassin in there with no motivation whatsoever, other than she just looks cool and she's kicking ass. It felt like John Wick. It felt like a John Wick. Why are they doing this? This is Mission Impossible. You're in your own lane. You don't need to be a John Wick. You don't need to be a Fast and the Furious. And I feel like this movie really sold out to Hollywood to try to appease to whatever is going on. And I gotta say, this is up there with Mission Impossible 2 as one of the worst in the franchise. I'm just gonna say it. It had a fine story. It had a fine story. Q, no, you're gonna have to rewind. You got to rewind 10 minutes, man. Overall, I did not like Mission Impossible 7. I'm just giving my rant because I didn't do a separate video because I was so angry last night with it. It had its moments of fun. Yeah, there's a whole train action sequence, by the way, which at the end, well, all right, I guess spoiler alert. The ending is the train scene. And when things started happening right at the end there, it felt so Fast and the Furious, you guys. Come on. It felt so Fast and Furious. This is Ethan Hunt. This is not fucking Dominic Toretto. Q said I also thought it was meh. And once again, I didn't completely hate this film because it had some action sequences that were... The motorcycle scene is fantastic. I don't want to give too many spoilers, but when Ethan's being directed by Benji, where the jump off point, where's the best point to, you know, whatever, that leads up to this cliff thing, that was intense. That was very, very intense. But once again, the villains were so stupid. The premise was so fucking over exaggerated with what was going on with the key situation and shit. I will say this though, the way they ended it as it being a part 1 was fine. Like, I could totally see it going on to a part 2. Thank you so much, Mandy, for that super chat. The pacing, the beat of everything, a lot of the cinema, the scene choices, it just wasn't working for me. It just felt so wacky, and I wanted to see more Luther, Benji, and Ethan. I wanted to see more of that. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to see more scenes like that. And you guys know I get all, you know, animated when I'm talking. I'm passionate about these movies, man. I haven't been to the theater in like 6 fucking months. I haven't been to the theater, and I go back, and this is my movie experience. You know what I mean? Next week we're supposed to go see Barbie. I don't even know if I want to see that in theaters. Now I don't even know what the fuck. First of all, you get hit with 20 minutes of fucking advertisements in the beginning. Pepsi Cola, drink our new drink, Starry. You know, lemon this and that, and AT&T commercials and shit. What the fuck? I'm sorry, baby. I don't go to the theater to watch fucking commercials. I could watch it on YouTube or on television. And then you're hit again with 30 minutes of trailers that I've already seen on YouTube. Okay? But that's kind of my rant on it. I don't want to speak on it anymore because it made me angry. Long story short, Mission Impossible 7 Dead Reckoning Part 1 had some good action scenes, but a lot that were over the top, that felt out of place, that didn't feel like it was a Mission Impossible movie whatsoever. More notably, that damn scene in, were they in, I believe in Rome, where he gets a Fiat when they jump in the Fiat. No. It could have been a one-off gag that they extended out for 20 minutes that kept Q and Rob, once again, when that Fiat scene happened and they're trying to drive that little fucking thing, did that not seem wacky and weird for what any reason? Like, did that seem out of place? Was I the only one? I was like, what is happening? I almost walked out of the theater. I almost walked out because I was like, come on, dude. It was not a good scene. But once again, Tom Cruise and all that, they're acting is stellar. I thought the scene inside the airport was very cool. That scene was very cool. There was elements of it. But once again, at the end of the day, yeah, it seemed like a cartoon. Thank you, my friend. And you don't have to agree with me just to agree with me. But I thought it just seemed different. It didn't seem like it should have been part of the franchise, a scene like that. And I know I'm probably gonna get labeled as a weirdo fan or whatever from this rant, but you know what? At this point in part 7, I mean, you expect a level, especially if these movies have been getting better, right? You expect a level of, I mean, they do continuity. They pull a lot of flashbacks, by the way. By the way, these transitions were probably the worst I've ever seen. And if you do editing, these were some of the worst transitions I've ever seen. It seemed very amateurish. Very amateurish. I mean, and the sound design on it was great. That was fine. All the technicals were great. It just seemed very rushed. And maybe it was a COVID thing. I don't know. Maybe it was rushed because of that. I don't really know. It just seemed, you know. I mean, they give you all the homage though. If you're a Mission Impossible fan, you know, I'm not going to say what it is, but they do some throwbacks to the previous sequels and whatnot, and that's cool and that's fun and whatnot, and you kind of remember, oh yeah, this character was in it, and they did this and that and this, and overall, it was a very 3 out of 5 movie for me, just a little above average. All right. Anyways, you guys are tired of hearing me rant, so I'll stop.